Today in the studio, just like every other day, I got a real treat for you. Greg Wittstock in the house, the pond guy.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brad. Excited.
Dude, if you guys don't know who this dude is, then you probably aren't into ponds and koi and shit like that. But if you go to YouTube and look up the pond guy, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
And a lot of people don't know, owner and CEO of Aquascape, which I would say is like a manufacturer of kick-ass, pond equipment.
It is now. Yeah, this is my 31st year doing this, man.
Yeah, but like you invent shit, don't you? Like you're almost a fabricator of sort.
I was 24, 1994, when I got my first patent for a filtration system that I designed in my backyard out of garbage cans and cattle troughs.
Damn. So is it called ponding?
Yeah, actually, water gardening,
Is that what it ponding is, water gardening?
Yeah, sure, you can call it that. Yeah.
What do people call it? Like in the industry, people
the water
say,
garden business, water feature business. But,
so like if I have a beautiful home,
yeah,
especially in the Pacific Northwest, and I hired you, you'd come in and turn my little hillside into a frickin'.
Is that where you want to be? The Pacific Northwest?
Well, I just love the terrain up there. I like ferns and bark, like natural.
Mm-hmm.
Ferns.
Well, and you live in a desert, dude.
I like trees. I like greenery.
Yeah, me too. Well, that's what we just moved to Utah. I just moved to Park City, Utah this last year.
A water feature in the middle of an arid desert scenery like Las Vegas is not going to be as cool as if it was surrounded by majestic beauty.
I think every yard deserves a water feature because it'll change how you interact with your property. And out here in Vegas, I would certainly design it so you can enjoy it from inside the house as well as outside.
Dude, so before I forget, at Greg Wittstock, it's W-I-T-T, stock, the pond guy, at Greg Wittstock, the pond guy, if you guys want to follow this dude. I know a lot of you might be thinking in your head, dang, dog, I've been thinking about a water feature. So then you'd go to Aquascape Inc. It's almost like you paid me, huh?
Yeah,
And by the way, he hasn't. But it's almost like I have. You have.
It's awesome. It's a real honor to be on here. I love your podcast, love your Instagram. And we met about 2 years ago, and you said, come on in. And now, now that you can jump on a quick flight down from Salt Lake, it's easy.
Well, that's because you're like at the top of the game. Like if somebody wants a pond, there's not probably a more foremost expert than you.
We are the world's largest decorative water feature company with certified aquascape contractors all over the globe, which makes me very proud and great content for me to go out and shoot.
See that? Now, how did you start that? You said you were 24?
I was born in 70. You were born in 69, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was 21, I started at 1991.
And how did you start it? You were just
UPS guy.
You were a UPS guy?
No. UPS guy rang the doorbell. I was putzing around my backyard pond. That was my classroom.
Did you make the pond?
I moved from Jersey in 1982 to Chicago, brought 11 of my favorite pet turtles with me, went to the library, if you remember those things, learned how to build ponds from all the books from Japan and England, built my own pond. It leaked, turned green. Even my prized turtles began migrating away. And that was my odyssey because I did not give up and ripped it out and rebuilt it every summer, fixed the cracked concrete, put a liner down. My pumps were getting clogged, so I used a garbage can and put a cattle trough in for the waterfall filter. And it was looking pretty nice after 7 years of redoing that. And one day the UPS guy rang the doorbell. Of course, I was putzing around in the pond in the backyard. I said, come around back. And he turned the corner and goes, this is beautiful. How'd you ever buy a house with a spring on it? He thought it was a natural spring, which is a good compliment to a pond builder. I go, nah, dude, I built it. He goes, can you build me one? And I thought, yes, I could. So I remember telling my mom and my dad, all I needed was a strong back, a wheelbarrow, and a shovel, and I could start my pond building business that next summer after my junior year at Ohio State University. And that Christmas, I got a wheelbarrow and a shovel beneath the Christmas tree. I already had a strong back from playing football, and Aquascape was born to build backyard habitats for fish and plants. Fun summertime gig for the first 2 seasons.
Hey, and the cool part is, folks, like you could literally do a swimming pool where there's fish in it,
rec ponds,
and you're able to swim in them.
Rec ponds are all the rage right now because
is that what it's called, a rec pond?
Recreation ponds, yeah. So the nice thing is, like in Chicago,
is there a difference between a rec pond and a
swimming pool,
regular pond?
Well, a rec pond would be something you would actually maybe get into. You can wade in, you could go in there.
How do you keep it clean?
The filtration. That's what we invent. That's what we make. So biological filtration. So a swimming pool uses use chemical filtration, chlorine, which is very harmful, and people are very environmentally friendly now. And also, a swimming pool is only really enjoyable when you're swimming in it, where a recreation pond is you're in a place like Chicago, 365 days a year, you can get that, look out your backyard, see nature out there, and enjoy it even when you're not in use. And so recreation ponds are certainly more pragmatic in, climates that aren't, warm 365.
What's the biggest one you've built?
The biggest one we have is in Australia. It's 2.7 acres of water, 17 feet deep, and it's at a festival.
And you built it?
Yeah, our customers
Dude,
built
17 feet deep. That's huge.
The biggest one we've built, that was at a kind of like a festival place where they do concerts.
That's like a huge ass lake almost.
Yeah, but everybody swims in it because it's down in Australia. The biggest one we ever built was in Colombia, South America. And we built it for a guy who was fans of our TV show. We had a reality television show on Nat Geo called Pawn Stars. And I'm like, why are we meeting with this guy that's coming up from, Colombia? Well, he built his entire, shopping mall around our water feature, which is in a jungle. So it's incredible. 100,000 fish in there, tons of turtles. For a pond guy, that's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Did you make a ton of money doing it?
We made good money. It was a lot of work because my guys would go down there for 2 weeks. They'd come back for 2 weeks. We had a lot of laborers down there. They had the crew work on it for 2 weeks, and over a 6-month period, they were there for 3 months. And after 6 months, he was the only guy in the company that wanted to do this. His whole management team didn't want to do it. When it was done, they said, this is the best thing about our mall, which is kind of rewarding,
Indeed. So let's go back entrepreneurial wise. The UPS guy said, hey, can you make me one? You're like, yeah, I can make you one.
Yeah.
Did you make him a good one? Did you make money on it?
Never made him one, but I ended up I sold 5 projects that summer as a 21-year-old kid, did $22,000 in business, put $11,000 in the bank, which is not bad for a 3-month gig. Came back early, took me 6 years to get my 4-year degree because I was taking 6 months off every year building ponds, and ended up building 11 ponds my second year. So I had done a total of 16 ponds. And then on August 2nd of 1992, the Chicago Tribune newspaper, that's these things they used to print with pictures in them and stuff, and people would look in them, ran a front page story on it called Jan Golden Pond, young landscape artist Greg Wittstock, age 22, builds backyard habitats for fish and plants, and interviewed my customers and said, we love our ponds so much we never move. We're a flight attendants and go to Japan. We see your ponds over there. Ours is equally as beautiful. So all of a sudden, my summertime gig blew up. Sold 81
blew
jobs.
Up huge, I bet.
81 jobs.
That was just by luck that the press ran the thing.
Well, let's go with luck. Of course, I sent them a business card. I sent them a write-up. I sent them pictures of my backyard pond, and a guy called.
So you solicited them.
I worked it, yeah.
So then they said, hey, let's run a story on this kid.
Actually, no. A freelance writer found the write-up that I had written up with my pictures and called me up, and I sent it to the gardening editor of the Chicago Tribune, and I got the tempo section, which I thought was actually better, the general new interest. 700,000 newspapers ran, and I sold 81 jobs from that, and all of a sudden my fun summertime gig became my career.
Yeah, well, that 81 jobs was in 1992. How many have you been done since?
Oh, thousands and thousands. But my business really transformed because everybody started, all the other landscapers after that article would subcontract me out to build ponds, and they would hire the pond guy to do it. And after seeing me do it, they'd say, hey, we want to buy the materials and do it ourselves. That's when I filed for my U.S. patent and started selling them the materials to do it. And then the other thing, Brad, that they didn't have the experience of working in their backyard classroom their whole life. And that started the training education division for me, which I had to teach them how to do it, which is one of the ways that we, started with talking about with Lightspeed, with how you communicate. And so really right now I travel the world. I visit my best customers. I shoot it on vlogs, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I get to spend time with my best customers, and we get to share with the world my passion, which is I was able to turn my backyard, hobby business of water features into my lifelong work 31 years later.
And Aquascape's pretty big deal.
Well, we are the most passionate company in the world. We're the second largest in the world. I got a competitor over in Germany, but they're venture capital owned. They don't have the passion that we have. And we're really focused on decorative water features. They're more of a fountain manufacturing company. So yeah, we're the second largest. I got a great team.
Dude, I've seen your headquarters. It's got a massive recreation pond.
Yeah, 600,000 gallon recreation pond. It's a green, environmentally friendly building.
Swim in that?
I swim in it all the time. I have whole football teams swim in it.
And there's fish in there. They don't care.
Yeah, just like the ocean, just like the river, just like the creeks. Just how we grew up.
Is it salt water or no?
No, it's freshwater, and we only do freshwater.
So how do you keep it clean enough to swim in where you're not swimming in a bunch of green mucus and puke?
Just the way God made it, nature, biological. So we put giant biological wetland filtration systems in there, would push the water through the plants and the gravel and let it recirculate, and you get crystal clear water.
Damn. And it operates flawlessly.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about it. I'm going to be building a house here pretty quick.
Let's do it. I will come back and personally build your pond. So that's what's fun for me, to be able to meet a guy like you. You have an interest in this. Now I get excited, and then I can come back and work with my certified Aquascape contractors and build the Brad Lee a decorative water feature.
Well, again, if it ends up a decorative water feature, but I'm more thinking of it as a kick-ass pool.
100%.
With fish in it.
Now, here's a question. Will your wife swim with the fish? Will your wife swim with the fish?
Everyone will swim with the fish.
If you can get your wife on board, because that's usually where the challenge is happening.
She don't get in the water.
Okay.
The question is the water clean? If you're looking in the water and it's clean and you just see some fish swimming around, I'll get in the water because it's just fish.
Yeah, it's just like a lake.
Piranhas in there.
No. Koi fish, Japanese koi. We just got back from Japan last week.
They swim away from you.
Well, they'll come up. You can get them eaten out of your hands.
Point being is, it would be cool as hell to have a swimming pool that was clean, but looked like a lake or a river or a pond or something.
It's more healthy because it's not chemicalized, and B, it's 1,000 times more interesting when you're not in the water.
How much would that cost roughly?
You're looking at, you've got a Ferrari, right? You got 2 Ferraris, right? You're looking at, the average recreation pond based on size is going for about 150 to 250,000. So cost of a starter Ferrari.
Yeah, well, Ferraris aren't 250, but I get you. New ones are way more than that.
What about a McLaren?
I don't know.
I thought they were about that, but whatever. So
no,
150 to 250.
Like a decent Ferrari nowadays, used, you can pick up one up for 250, but new they're like 400 or 500.
So a lot less than a Ferrari.
Yeah,
it'll be a Ferrari for backyard.
But you could also get a more expensive one.
There will be nobody that comes into a house with a rec pond that doesn't talk about the water feature. Not a single person, not the UPS guy, not your best friends, nobody. When you got a swimming pool, people are used to seeing swimming pools. They're not used. It's a paradigm shift.
And how cool can a swimming pool be?
I think it's one-dimensional.
It is.
It's only for swimming.
Like I'm picturing all the cool pools I've seen. The only thing you can get a little creative on is the shape, the little bridgeways and grottos and shit. But at the end of the day, you can't beat a pond that you can swim in that has clean, crisp water and plants and fish and cool shit. Like, dude, everyone listening right now is thinking, dude, that would be bitching. And by the way, if anybody calls and gets one of those, just make sure you'd let him know you came from the bomb squad.
Amen. And then all I need to do is see your drawing. I love it. First one.
The old bomb squad. Now, no, because dude, there's a lot of people listening to this. And what's funny is a lot of people would want that instead of a pool. But yet you don't see those. Like, I don't go to people's house. Oh, you got a rec pool. Yep. Oh, cool. A rec pool.
Yep.
Like, dude, who knows about rec pools?
Well, it's fascinating because the swimming pool business and industry is so established. And this is pretty new stuff. I mean, when I started my business 31 years ago, Brad, nobody manufactured professional grade water feature equipment.
Why don't you go to swimming pool companies and say, let me turn you into a rec pool builder?
It's very different. A swimming pool is the entire thing is about chemical filtration, whereas ours is biological. But of course, the swimming pool guys digging. We don't use gunite. We don't use shotcrete. Which is how swimming pools are made. Primarily.
What do you use? Just
liners. EPDM rubber liners. But
good solid liners, I imagine.
Yeah, well, they're guaranteed for 20 years in the sun, and we put them underneath rock and gravel. So, I mean, I just rebuilt last year one that I put in, one of those original ones from that the story back in 1992.
And so you can make one where I could say, I want at some point for it to be about 5.5 feet deep.
Yep.
And then there's some plants and features,
waterfalls. Yeah. We built one of those for Shaq.
Lighting.
We're building one. We're building a part 2 for Shaq coming up here in June.
Imagine you go out in your backyard and instead of a swimming pool, you see this beautiful, what looks like a freaking nature pond.
Oasis,
and you see fish swimming. It's all lit up. It's lighting in there and everything.
Nothing will draw someone outside their house as much as a decorative water feature. But over 31 years,
when you say decorative water feature, I always think of the little ball with the water that runs through it, and it's like calcium ridden, and
that's a fountainscape. We start off with fountainscapes, but ponds,
not the same thing.
Ponds are ecosystem based with fish.
That's a water feature.
Yeah, water feature. Yeah.
So, do you have a big crew of salespeople running around the country? What if I recruited a bunch of salespeople that would go around and just get you all kinds of work?
The last 2 years have been incredible. COVID has been off the hook for, we couldn't even keep the product in stock because everybody's investing in their properties right now. Now we're starting to slow down, but we've been through this before. It doesn't scare me. We have certified Aquascape contractors.
Well, not only that, there's tons of rich people left.
Even
in these, recessions and everyone's going to not buy. Not everyone's not going to buy, dude. When the recession goes down, the people with the money come out and they start to buy. And they buy it all up because even though the regular folks are broke, there's a whole bunch of rich ones that are not broke.
And that's all you have to, and by the way, and it's not even just rich folks. It's somebody that, inherited, $20,000 and wants to be able to come home and kick back with a beer and sit by their pond. So,
or get sold. Because again, dude, nobody's knocked on my house and said, do you want me to turn that into one of these? And showed me a picture of something just freaking sick. And I'll be like, damn, dude. People are like, dude, you got dolphins in your pool.
Well, no, that's salt. But
by the way, wouldn't it be cool if you could invent a little dolphin that doesn't grow past this and it's a freshwater pool dolphin?
They have freshwater dolphins that live in the Amazon, but they're endangered.
Freshwater pool Amazon or freshwater dolphins.
It's definitely creative.
Miniature freshwater dolphins would be a fucking smash.
But along your lines, water features aren't bought, they're sold. You have to promote them. And so we teach our contractors, basically, you have to showcase your work. So you get it out there, which of course before was demonstration water features at garden centers. Now it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and everything else, which is why I spend most of my time showcasing it.
It's 100% correct, which is why you're probably crushing it. Because you're on social media. So when someone types in, how do I build a pond?
Yeah,
Greg Wittstock pops up.
Yes.
And then there you are all happy and shit in your videos, walking around ponds like you freaking love them. And then people are like, dude, I need to ask this guy a question. And all of a sudden your inbound organic traffic is ridiculous, isn't it?
And I love it because I get to talk about my passion. So I've got social media community managers that answer a lot of that stuff. But back in the day, I hired someone to do my Facebook page. We're older, back in like maybe 2010, but obviously that didn't work. And now I just embrace it. And it's the majority of my work now is communicating and creating content for people to learn about what we do because they don't know what water features are.
Yeah, well, they need to. I'd like a water feature in the house I'm building. I'm going to make sure we get one.
Amen.
But I want to see pictures.
Hey, we got to the coffee table book. So
I know, but are there pictures of rec ponds?
Oh yeah, there's lots of rec ponds in there. Out Australia rec pond is in there, and there's a lot of Shaq's rec pond is in there.
And does he swim in it?
It's kind of funny. I said, you can walk in here. I got the beach area to go into with the kids or the grandkids, and he's like, the ladies. But he didn't say the word ladies, but yeah.
What about it?
Who loves his pond? His mom. His mom lives in Atlanta. She is out there every day feeding those fish.
But who swims in it?
The kids, the grandkids, they could swim in it.
They do swim in it?
Yeah, they'll go in there. I'm building them a deeper one this year because his first pond was only 3 and it was a wading one. Now we're building a 5-foot deep one in June.
Huh. I want to see pictures of these kick-ass looking, I'd call them, it's a rec pool.
Yeah, recreation ponds.
But it's not a pond.
It is a pond because it
is a pond, but you're using it as a pool.
Or you're sitting by it with a beer or a glass of wine or a cup of coffee in the morning. What
if you wanted to fish in it?
Yeah.
Catch and release.
The challenge with game fish is you don't see them because they hide. And so most people that start off with game fish eventually go to koi, which is it's the world's most expensive fish. I just got back from Japan. One of the guys on my party bought $100,000 fish, one fish. $100,000.
I saw something on TikTok, I think the other day, where they were moving this massive koi and it said $1.8 million fish.
That's the most expensive koi ever sold, $1.8 million. Most expensive fish period ever sold. So,
why would someone pay 1.8 if it could die?
It will die. And when they get that big, which is usually, 80 to 100 centimeters, they only usually live about a third of the life of they live 30, 40 years in your pond, but you get a big one.
Would you put any cichlids in there?
Well, the challenge with cichlids, you'd have to be in a place where the water doesn't drop below 50 for a consistent period because that's a tropical.
Would you put I forget what they're called, but they're long and Like an
Arapaima?
Oscar? Like, yeah.
Arapaima.
Yeah.
We have indoor ponds. We built one at this awesome indoor pond for Ohio Fish Rescue. Super cool guy, Big Rich, and he's got a giant He turned his indoor swimming pool into a predator pond. He's got a 6-foot-long Arapaima named Brutus in there.
Well, what is it? And he throw shit in there for it to eat?
Oh, yeah. You drop it in, it hits it hard.
What goes in there?
They usually do tilapia fillets.
You don't swim in there, do you?
Oh, yeah, I swim in there. I love it. Ohio Fish Rescue.
They won't hurt you?
No. Yeah, he actually has a little stick that he gives to people that don't know different and says, if it comes by, you just hit them. They won't bother you. You're not food to those. It's just kind of cool. It is cool. I don't get too jealous, but when a guy's got an Arapaima, 6-foot high Arapaima living in his indoor pond, that's pretty cool.
Now, dude, your core values are family, service, doing your best, and fun.
So listen, I learned more playing football than any class that I ever, interpersonal communication class. It took me 6 years to get my degree from Ohio State. I learned more being in a fraternity, being rush chair, social chair, hellmaster, doing all the fun stuff, being on a state championship football team in high school and seeing what a culture is. I think the first job of a CEO is to guide and guard the company culture. We have about 130 teammates. I don't work there. I mean, I'm on the road or I'm in Utah. I mean, I pop in and visit. I have a president that runs the place. Most of my managers have been there for over 20 years, but the culture is the thing that I protect like my baby. I'm like a mama. I'm a bear with the culture at the company. It's all about the culture for me.
What is the culture?
Fun is one of our core values. Winning, we got to actually make money, but just where, all for one for all, these are things that I learned playing sports. I didn't learn them in class. I didn't learn them in math class. I mean, God gifted me with a right brain, not a left brain. I was a creative guy. I mean, I built ponds for a living, right?
Dude, have you ever heard the saying, there isn't anything right about my left brain and there ain't much left of my right?
I have never heard that. That's the first time I've heard that.
There you go.
But, but growing up, I got put into the, the remedial type of classes, and I was considered, but thank God I had sports as an outlet to get through things. But I was a creative guy. I wouldn't sit still. And most of my customers that I serve are similar to me. They're not guys that want to sit down and learn. They're actual hands-on workers. And so I can relate and I can talk of a contractor because I am a contractor at the end of the day.
Now, with all that being said, Greg.
Yeah.
It says here that you were named the best boss.
Fortune magazine. Yeah.
The best boss though. That means everybody, like, you walk around this excited at the office.
Oh God. Yeah. I'm going back on Thursday for Thanksgiving and can't wait to see everybody. I've got most of my team been there for over 20 years.
When everyone shows up, are you like, a sight for sore eyes? Like you've been gone a while?
You know what? That's I like that, being gone a little bit makes the heart grow a little bit fonder, and for both of us, for all of us.
But you travel around and make content.
Man, I'm on the road.
That's your fun, isn't it?
Look, if I'm at the office for too many days, they're like, get out of here. Right. It's my fun. I took he was 18, he's 19 now, my 18-year-old son backpacking on Appalachian Trail. And I said, hey, we got to go hit this guy up before we go out on the road. And he goes, Dad, I think the amount of time that you spend with the customers is equally as important to the content you create. I'm like, man, you get that as an 18-year-old, it's relationships. My life is about relationships.
That's right.
So if you look at our certified Aquascape contractor tribe, Seth Godin, right?
Yeah.
Tribes. That's how I run my business. So we create a tribe that sticks together. Everybody helps each other out. And so I've got friends in every port and they're all passionate about this water feature business. And then we just help them connect. We just set the table and then they connect.
If someone's listening to this with a business, how do they get that kind of a tribe going?
Well, I guess it starts with the owner. It starts with the CEO, the culture, and we don't believe in competition. We believe in co-opetition. So when you get a new certified Aquascape contractor in the area, you take them under your wing because the last thing you want is a guy down the road doing things half-ass and doing it for half the price. You want them doing it right and charging properly. And so the co-opetition thing that we've been working on, where it's the truth, you don't want guys that are, hack jobs or doing things that are poor. If you're in business, you want to help your customers succeed. That's the whole thing too. How can I help somebody else get what they want? You help other people get what they want, you get what you want. And what I want is to help them succeed. So it's all about success. And if I was going to be bringing on guys that weren't going to help them succeed, it's going to decrease the market. So my goal in my business is to help people succeed. And so many times,
that's the goal of my business, or the one you're sitting in anyway.
That's why we're together, right?
We got to do a better job of it though. So I was picking your brain to see on like how do we get that kind of tribe mentality going?
So what I do, man, we do regional events all over the country, and the world. I'll be in Puerto Rico, which is technically in the country, but not, in January. So we do bring events together, and we bring speakers in, and we get people to connect and talk about their stories, because everybody's got a story. Facts tell, stories sell. So tell us your story.
You have a podcast or anything?
I have a podcast.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is it like weekly, or how often does it go?
I always do it in the off season. So I'm coming up on my next series right now, but it's a podcast, at Greg Wittstock. And I just basically interview my best customers about how they were successful and what they did. And, a little bit like what you do, but it's specific for ponds and water features.
Like you say, so what'd you do about that algae problem?
Well, we don't talk. See, that's another channel. So I've Ed the Pond Professor. So that's my right-hand guy, Brad. So he's been with me. I've been in business 31 years. He's been with me 29. And so many business owners look in the mirror and say, I got to find somebody just like me to come into my business. Who's the last person that you want in your business? Another Brad Lee, right?
No, I'd want a million of me.
Okay, I love it. I love the confidence. Well, I could tell you one thing with me. If there was two of me, we'd blow up the room, right? I needed a yin for my yang, and I got Ed the Pond Professor, a guy who has a left brain versus a right brain. He's a scientist, and he's a technical guy. You want to bore me? Let's talk about algae, right? Now, it's important. You need that stuff, but I'm going to put that guy that's in the right seat on the bus, and that was the polar opposite person than me. That's my longest teammate right now, and everybody loves him. Oh, man, it must be nice to be loved by everybody. About half the people, for me, love me, and about half the people hate me, because I got to be kind of, dominant to be in business. Where this guy, everybody just loves him. He just talks algae all day long. I'll talk algae for 5 minutes, but not all day long.
Okay, let's go with 5 minutes.
Okay.
How do you get rid of the algae?
Well, you have to set up an ecosystem in balance. This is nature. It has to be in balance. So the right amount of fish, the right amount of plants, the right amount of bacteria.
So when someone says, hey, I want this, I want that, you might say, no, dude, you can't have more than 5 fish in there.
First rule of business with water features: don't give a customer what they ask for. Give them what they want. So the number one thing people say is, I want a 5-foot high waterfall in my flat backyard. Oh, you want a volcano spewing lava? No, I want a natural looking waterfall. So then we're going to either bring in 2 semis of soil to make it the proper slope over angle, or I'll build you a 2-foot high waterfall with the proper slope over angle. And when you speak that way to a customer, they go, oh. And if they don't, you're willing to walk away, they usually change. I don't want to give a customer what they ask for. I want to give them what they want. And I know what they want better than them, because I'm the professional for 31 years.
That's right. That's the bottom line. So that's why people, if they want a water feature, should call you guys.
Aquascapeinc.com.
Aquascapeinc.com, folks. Again, I'm going to have to hit you up.
It'll be fun. It's fun to do this.
So if you were to start all over, what would you do differently?
Well, here's the first thing I would say to myself. All business is fixing problems. There were no problems, you wouldn't have a business. Cher, she said the famous quote, if a good body came in a pill, everybody would have a good body. So thank God for those challenges that you have. You want to kill either one of us, put us in a toll booth. No problems. We won't do it. We go stir crazy. The purpose of life is to have a purpose. People work their whole day. You hear this all the time. People work their whole life. They retire. They have no purpose. They die. I'm never going to retire. I don't have a succession plan. I'm 52 years old. I want to keep doing this thing, but I have to reinvent myself all the time and get out of my own way and get people around me that are better than me at what they're doing, and then give them the rope. Most people, when you give them a rope, Brad, will hang themselves. And then you'll have a very meek, quiet guy like the Pond Professor, who 29 years later is still working with me as a perfect yin for my yang.
Indeed. Now, that's some advanced business commentary. What about the brand new people? What if they don't have a bunch of employees to deal with?
Well, start thinking about it this way. Start thanking yourselves for those problems, because that problem is what you allow to create your business. If there was no problems, you wouldn't be able to create a business. I believe the definition of hell is a life without problems. There's nothing to do, right? So don't let it de-energize you. Your attitude determines your altitude.
Do you
right?
like problems? You got a lot of sayings, don't you?
Well, I've been married for 25 years. Hardest thing you'll ever do in your life is be married, have to submit to somebody else.
It doesn't mean you have to submit just because you're married.
I don't get my way. a lot because I want to make a happy wife, happy life.
Well, what's your way?
It just depends on what it is. Okay. I can tell you.
If you say, listen, if you say you don't get your way.
Yes, sir.
That means you're giving her way.
Yes, sir.
Which is really your way.
Correct.
So you do get your way.
That's a positive.
It just happens to be hers.
That's happy wife, happy life. If
right.
You know what?
But that's the choice.
It is.
That's all I'm saying. Is like
concur.
People, because I've heard this a lot, and I want to help everybody that might have just picked up on that to where, well, again, you get it.
I get it.
So when people say, well, I don't get my way because I let her have her way, that is your way.
Amen.
Because if it wasn't your way, you would not let her have her way. You would say it's my way or the highway. And then true, like in my mind, true alpha males that act like that are usually at the end of the road lonely.
Amen.
Because all they cared about is 100% me. Now, I do preach that you should care about you more than anybody else in your existence. Why? Because to be valuable to your wife and your kids and everybody in your life, you need to be the best version of you.
Yep.
So that is how you serve your family, is by making sure you continuously develop and become more valuable to it. And sometimes that means putting them second.
Yes.
So in my book, you should put family and wives and husbands and anyone else second. Focus on yourself and get yourself like top notch, operating at the highest potential.
Yes.
That is how you serve and love your family the most.
Amen.
Can't wait to hear the commentary back on that one.
It's the truth, though.
It is the truth. People don't like the truth sometimes. They don't like the truth.
A lot of times.
So your wife's obviously cool. She lets you cruise around the country, or does she go with you?
She does not. She would hate my job.
But she lets you go around the country and she holds it down.
She does, which is why we're living in Utah now. You know, from Chicago. She said, we're empty nesters. I don't want to be stuck in Chicago.
Does she run the business?
She runs the Aquascape Foundation.
Good.
Which is our non-for-profit, which we do third world water projects, which is pretty cool.
What about here in the United States, my house?
That's me.
I know, but that's third world water project.
She's not involved in the business, but she's about as wise of a counsel as I have. So people, especially when it comes to people, which of course all business is people, right? So she is my counselor on people at the company, and she cares deeply about me and the company. And so she is a wise sage when it comes to people. After about 10 years, she said, you know, why don't you just listen to me the first time when it comes to people? I go, what do you mean? She goes, look at all the dead bodies of the people that I warned you about. I'd be like, hey, great guy. Huh? She's like, oh, the back of my neck hair stood up. She has a spider sense, right?
Women have good intuition.
And some guys do too. I don't. I believe people at face value. She doesn't. You have to earn her respect. And so after about 10 years, I just started using her judgment on people instead of my own. And if she doesn't like somebody, even I might love them, I go, I think she's probably right.
Hey, that's team.
Yeah, it is a good team.
Well, dude, I appreciate you coming in. You're only in Utah, so you can stop in more often.
I love it. I haven't been here in a long time. Super impressed by the changes in the studio, and congrats on all your success, man.
Well, thank you. The Bomb Squad will hit you up on social media. Folks, you guys know where to go. At Greg Wittstock, the Pond Guy, aquascapeinc.com, and then more importantly, go check out the YouTube channel so you see what you're missing out on, and then get yourself a rec pool. Make sure you told them it came from the Bomb Squad. Appreciate you coming in.
Thanks a lot, man.
And folks, as always, till next time, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Bradley. Subscribe now.